Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you all to the first panel discussion of the 15th Bangladesh Denim Expo. The topic of the panel discussion is Bangladesh apparel industry in 2030, the road ahead. To discuss on this important topic, we have among us as the speakers Mr. Joshua Gakutan, Second Secretary High Commission of Australia in Bangladesh, Mr. Arshad Jamal Dipu, former Vice President BGMEA and Chairman Tushuka Group, Mr. Moin Haidar Chaudhary, Branch Manager Bangladesh and Pakistan Puma, Mr. Monir Ahmed, Director MNJ Group, Mohammad Anis Agang Nugroho, Program Manager Better Work Bangladesh, Ms. Katrina Maher, Regional Serum Manager Indian Subcontinent and Turkey Blue Sign Technologies, and Mr. Takar Esano, Senior Director Sales and Marketing YKK Bangladesh PTA Limited. I'm requesting all the distinguished speakers to kindly come to the stage. Requesting Mr. Arshad Jamal Dipu and Mr. Monir Ahmed to kindly come to the stage. Requesting Mr. Kaji Fayaz Murshid, Director General Ministry of Foreign Affairs to kindly also come to the stage. So I welcome all the distinguished panelists to the panel discussions. To start the panel discussions, I would like to share a few things about the panel discussions. You will be requested to give your answer to each question by maximum 3 minutes. And after the round of questions in the panel discussions, we will also take some questions from the floor. So with this note, I would like to start the panel discussions. And I would like to start with Mr. Joshua Gakotan, Second Secretary High Commission of Australia and Bangladesh. So the question I would like to ask you is, Australia is one of the major markets for Bangladesh apparel export. We have recently heard that Australia will continue to provide duty-free access to Bangladesh even after the graduation of the country to a middle-income one. My question to you, or I would like to request you to share a bit more about this duty-free access even after the middle-income country.
Thank you for your question, Omar, and thank you, first of all, for organizing this wonderful panel. It's a great pleasure to be here. Long story short, in response to your question, yes, Australia will continue to provide duty-free and quota-free preferential market access to all apparel items coming from Bangladesh into Australia. In terms of specifics, we understand that Bangladesh the challenges Bangladesh would face upon graduating from least developed country status anticipated in 2026, and the importance of Bangladesh in maintaining its existing tariff settings. So just to reassure you, Bangladesh will not lose its preferential market access to the Australian market upon LDC graduation. Even after LDC graduation, the application of Australia's system of tariff preferences will not change automatically, and Bangladesh's exports under that will continue to receive these preferences. These categories under our domestic system are static, and we don't have any plans to renew, review, or remove those preferences at this point in time.
Thank you, and thank you for sharing the encouraging news for Bangladesh apparel industry. The second questions I would like to ask you, to your opinion, what are the major areas where Bangladesh apparel industry should focus on now to make further improvements, and how Australia foresee to support Bangladesh to make those improvements?
Yeah, so Bangladesh remains an important source for Australian brands for its apparel imports, but of course, as you say, there is room for growth. Currently, Bangladesh only imports 10.75% of Australia. Sorry, currently Bangladesh holds only 10.75% share of Australia's total clothing imports. But firstly, I'll say that Australian consumers, brands, and buyers are increasingly focused on sustainability when making purchasing decisions. We understand Bangladesh is focused on reducing its environmental impacts in response to growing interest and concern from consumers and brands. So in terms of what Bangladesh could do, it should continue to build its sustainability credentials and also raise awareness of those credentials, including its efforts to reduce waste in the RMG sector to international brands, including Australian brands and buyers. I'll give you one example. For example, Picard Bangladesh, which produces leather accessories for Australian-owned brands, was the first tannery in Bangladesh to be certified by the Sustainable Leather Foundation. And this is a good example because Picard Bangladesh's sustainability credentials have allowed it to really distinguish itself to Australian consumers and brands and supply to well-known and high-quality brands such as R.M. Williams and Mimco in Australia. In terms of what is Australia doing in this space, Australia continues to support the Partnership for Cleaner Textiles under the United Nations Sustainable Development Investment Portfolio, which has helped in part to reduce water usage, carbon emissions in the sector. I also want to touch on product diversification. Bangladesh should continue to focus on mixing its product basket with non-cotton fibers such as wool. That will really allow it to diversify and move up the value chain. For example, wool remains a key export for Australia, and this high-quality product will help diversify the industry here. The world's best merino wool comes from Australia. Merino wool is recognized by many as one of the most luxurious natural fibers in the world, and Australia provides 81% of this kinds of wool from wool growers who employ sustainable farming practices. So again, it will allow Bangladesh to move up the value chain, move into different product segments such as high-quality suits, jackets, wool-blended denim, and activewear. Australia is a very strong sporting nation, so wool, its product quality is really aligned with that type of product in that it's breathable, the superior moisture management and odor-resistant qualities that wool has.
Thank you. And with that note from Mr. Joshua, I would like to come to Mr. Kaji Fayaz Morshid, Director General, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And my question to you that we know Bangladesh is going to be a middle-income country. That means from 2029, the country will not enjoy anymore the duty-free access under the EBA. So what diplomatic efforts Bangladesh government is making to ensure the duty-free access even after the graduation of Bangladesh as a middle-income country?
Thank you again. Good to be back here, and congratulations to Mustafiz and team for pulling off the 15th edition of the Denim Expo. Thanks for inviting us. Just one clarification. I mean, Bangladesh already became a middle-income country in 2015, although a lower middle-income country, but nonetheless a middle-income country. And we hope to become an upper middle-income country by 2030-31. And the second thing is, of course, after our LDC graduation, we can't expect to have blanket duty-free and quota-free market access. But there are different schemes in place by different countries or blocks, especially developed countries and blocks, which do offer duty-free and quota-free access to some extent. And as you can see, we are trying to work on those, even at the highest political level. In March this year, our Honorable Prime Minister was at the LDC 5 conference, UN LDC 5 conference, where she spoke for the graduating LDCs and echoed what the UN Secretary General said, that graduating LDCs should be rewarded for their performance and not punished actually for their performance. And subsequently, even during the G20 summit, Honorable Prime Minister forcefully talked about this, about continuing with trade preferences for graduating LDCs. And very recently, during her trip to Brussels, as you could see, I mean, she also touched upon these issues. So all these diplomatic initiatives are going on in different forums. We are pleased that just 2-3 weeks ago, the WTO has reached a decision regarding continuation of trade preferences for graduating LDCs. Although our expectation was much higher, but it was a negotiated outcome, and there were certain, one particular developed country which was not quite in favor of having a predictability clause in that decision. But even then, we managed to secure a negotiated outcome that encouraged developed countries and economies to continue with trade preferences for graduating LDCs. And I think Australia has set a very good precedent example for that by coming out and committing their support for graduating LDCs. And we hope that this will be emulated or followed by other developed and advanced economies. And the last point, regarding advanced economies, it's not just developed countries that offer trade preferences to LDCs, but there are also certain emerging economies that do offer duty-free access on certain products from LDCs. So our conversations are going on with those countries as well. I think I'll stop there for the moment. Thank you.
One supplement questions to you, sir, that you have shared the fact that WTO could actually continue to give the duty-free access to the LDCs for some more years. But one of the facts we also know that even in the EU, we have the opportunity to continue duty-free by getting the GSP Plus. So my supplement question to you is how optimistic you are in getting the GSP Plus from the EU and why?
Personally, quite optimistic, I would say. But let's see. Again, it's an outcome of negotiations. The EU is still working on its new GSP regulation, and we are following closely how it evolves. The EU system is quite complicated. Currently it is under discussion with the EU Parliament and so forth, and we are engaged with all these different actors in Brussels who are involved with the process. We have fulfilled some of the criteria, like you have to ratify 32 international conventions concerning labor rights, human rights, and environmental issues. And Bangladesh has already become party to all 32 conventions. There was only one remaining convention for us till last year, which was the ILO Convention 138 regarding the minimum age for child labor. Even in last decade, when we were engaging in such discussions, we used to face some reservations about taking on such obligations. But this time, thankfully, again, thanks to our social partners, we could agree collectively to ratify this critical convention, and that we look at it as the evolving nature of our society and economy, that we are now getting ready to take on such international obligations. In terms of implementation or compliance with those conventions, of course, there is an issue, and we are continuing to work on those. From Bangladesh, as far as the government is concerned, we don't think we have anything to hide. Just in the coming few days, you will see that we will be facing our Universal Periodic Review at the Human Rights Council in Geneva, where our human rights compliance issues will be subject to discussions by member states. We will also have a defense for the case that we have in ILO. Some of the workers group that have lodged this case against Bangladesh under Article 26 of the ILO Constitution. That defense is also coming up as part of the ILO governing body. So we are very much engaged, and we are trying to showcase the gradual progress that we are making on these fronts as well. And of course, when we talk about due diligence, environmental concerns are very much key. And there again, as you can see, from our private sector, we see a lot of investments being made to enhance their compliance with international environmental standards. Recent times, just to give some examples, last year, Bangladesh ratified the Minamata Convention on Mercury. This year, we ratified a very critical convention, the Budapest Convention on Safe Recycling of Ships. We are also kind of taking on obligations under, for example, the Global Methane Pledge. So it's not just in the apparel sector, but in diverse sectors, we are taking on these challenges to enhance and improve our environmental protection and safeguards. So given all the work that's being done, I mean, we are quite confident that our compliance with all these various international standards will continue to improve, and those will be taken into consideration by our development partners, including the EU, and that should lead us to achieving what we are hoping to get under the GSP+. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kaji Fayaz Murshid. And now I would like to move to Mr. Monir Ahmed, Director, MNG Group. Actually, when we discuss about Bangladesh apparel industry in 2030, the road ahead, one important point comes, that is the target of achieving USD 100 billion target by the year 2030 that has been fixed by the BGMEA. So achieving 100 billion target, apparel export target, means to almost double the export from our denim subsector. My question to you, that do you believe it is possible and why?
Hello. Hi, everyone. The thing is, I'm in denim industry, so I'll focus more onto denim. So in total, we exported about $46 billion. And in denim, our biggest market is UE, 1.5 billion. US is 9 billion, and other market is 5.5 billion. So in total, around 2.5 billion. So if you're saying we need to double it, then in denim, we have to come up with around 5.5 billion. It's a challenge. But since we don't have much time, I will say 4 strengths and 4 drawbacks that we have. Not drawbacks, challenges. So 4 strength is denim needs a lot of manpower. And it's a studious job. It's really hard work. And we have plenty of worker. And currently, we are number 1 in the world. When you are number 1, you have a market ready. It's production place ready. So it's easy for us to increase. So this manpower is really our asset. Number 2 is we have 40 mills running. And behind that, a lot of yarn factories. And if you see the journey of the fabric mills, they're improving tremendously. So I think in short future, we'll have really good quality fabrics. So verticality is on our way, except cotton. So this is our second strength. Third strength is we have an untapped market of small quantity, high value orders. Mostly our factories are doing big volume orders. But there are a lot of buyers in there which is untapped. So this is an opportunity for us. We have started doing it. Like myself, we produce Diesel, G-Star, this kind of brands. So it's slowly coming. And this is a big market. But only problem of these, we need to elevate our image a little bit. And since we still have, we need to really achieve a stage where brands like, say, Chanel or Gucci is not afraid to made in Bangladesh level. So we need to achieve that. And 4th strength is the sustainability. That is the future. We call it the future from now. So that is, in Bangladesh, we heavily invested in sustainability, and that is the future. I think this is our 4th strength. But at the same time, by 2030, probably from 2030 or 31, we'll lose our GSP. The salary probably will go more than $200 minimum wages. So it is our challenge to train our middle workers and middle management to that level. This is number 1 challenge. Number 2 challenge is energy. We need to really, really look into this. Number 3 challenge is we already discussed this, bilateral treaties. Because when the GSP will be over, it's gonna be something we need to take. So we need to do something about it. And number 4 is the political stability and all those, and with a good economy with reserve. So I think with all this is not easy, but definitely achievable.
Thank you. And when we talk about the sustainability, MNG Group owns one of the world's highest rated lead washing factory, Genesis. So I would like to know from you what are the sustainable progresses Bangladesh apparel industry has made recently in denim washing. If you just shed some light.
Okay, very frankly, in the world, there are only three LEED certified factory. Two are platinum, both are our factories, and one gold factory that is also from Bangladesh. So we also, one of the laundries, Genesis Washing, is the fourth version, first factory. So it is called LEED Earth. So there's only one laundry. So before, for a long time, we were talking about only a sustainable plant can produce a sustainable garment. For an example, one laundry doesn't have ETP. He produced one denim with 20 liter and no permanganate. And if he claims that this is a sustainable garment, to me it's not. Because he doesn't have ETP. He's polluting the environment. So you cannot come up with a garment and say it is sustainable. First, the plant has to be sustainable. And this is the focus everybody is now taking on, all the buyers. So the two pillars are mostly is important is the carbon greenhouse gas emission reduction of that and the water recycling. So if I'm talking about my journey. So there is for recycling, the RO is the most popular thing, but it is not a good way to do it because almost 20% of the water is reject, and you have to put it in the ground for evaporation. Then you have to deal with the harmful residues. So we invented our own way, so we can produce almost 95% recycle and 5% evaporation. So this is a milestone that we have achieved. And then again, I think I see a lot of people are working on it. So this we should overcome. And then if I talk about my history, we start our baseline in 2020. 2022, we have achieved 41% recycling of water, and this is already registered. That means it's verified. So our target within 1 year or 2 years, we'll do 95%, and we'll register that. Anyway, and the second is the greenhouse gas emission. So this is also the key point for everybody. We invested a lot of modern machineries, especially the generators and boilers. We changed them all. And with other machineries, baseline 2020 to 2022, we have reduced 26% carbon gas emission. And the first, I have seen that a lot of people are using solar energy. That is really a good way. But we made a decision to wait until 2026 because we first we did the evaluation with our roof surface in 2017, and we come up with 1,050 kilowatt. Then we did the second evaluation on 22. We found that has achieved 1,880. So the solar panels are really getting efficient, and the price is going down. So we have calculated if we do this in 2026, I'll be able to generate almost 3,300 kilowatt. With these, my renewable energy will be 50%, and at the same time, greenhouse gas I can reduce almost 70%. So these are the milestones. These figures are, I think, amazing, and people are doing it. These are two pillars. Then if you go product-wise, everybody is working on fibers. Then the sustainable processes, like if you can say laser, PP, laser, then nebulizing, ozone, then no stone. These are, everybody's working. But all this process have its limitation, but we are breaking the barrier every year. So we are achieving a little more next year. So this is how we are achieving. I think we are in good direction for this purpose.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing some of the inspiring facts. And with this note from Mr. Monir Ahmed, I would like to now move to Mr. Moin Haider Chaudhary, Branch Manager, Bangladesh and Pakistan, Puma. So when we talk about Bangladesh Apparel Industry 2030, we know the brands have also a lot of lofty goals to achieve by the year 2030. So my question to you that what are the sustainability goals of Puma 2030? Because we know the Puma has also some of the goals.
Thank you very much. And first of all, thanks for inviting and also everyone present here. Yeah, I mean, being a global brand, we have a lot of commitment to the stakeholders, to our customers, and we always go with the science-based targets. So our current targets is following to 2025, which was a base from 2007, and we are working on every areas, starting from the like reduction of water, chemical uses, green energies, and also in the product circularities. So, these are our focus area. We have targets which are like openly, shared on our platform. So, this is what we are working, following, and with the support of our stakeholders and our partners in the ground, which is our supplier base.
Yeah, so my question, second question to you, what are the strengths of Bangladesh apparel industry as a sourcing destination, you think? And the complementary question of that, how important is Bangladesh in Puma's sourcing strategy in the coming years?
Thank you for this interesting question. Let me share my own experiences. I joined Puma 8.5 years back, and when in the sports arena, we are the third largest global brand. And when I joined, our immediate competitor was 5 times bigger than us, and the first to us was 10 times bigger than us. At the moment, we are closing up the gap, and it is 3 times and 5 times bigger than us, which is a great achievement by the company itself. And definitely, Bangladesh is the partner on this success for our growth as well. And I can proudly say, like for last 3 years in the apparel area, Bangladesh is our number one sourcing destination in terms of the units. So we are still focusing and looking for the growth, but definitely what Monibhai has said, like with the challenges that we are in, everybody is there, having the challenges in the same direction. But we are very hopeful, and we are very strategic with our partners to look into the growth and coming for 2030. And we are actually still, our sourcing base are very strong from Bangladesh, and that will continue. But definitely the diversification of product is important, which we are always working with our suppliers, especially from natural fibers to the man-made fibers. I know like our partners are working, government is supporting in many areas, so which is one of the key areas. Second is like industry 4.0, like incorporation of the technologies. The more we can do, and more it will be benefit to the upcoming challenges. What Munirbai was saying, like the wages and also the cost, that will help. And last but not least, with the support of mid-level management, where we are deficit, and that is the area I'm sure government is already looking into it to really build up this mid-level management, so that that can help to the industry, and the value addition can be more. Like we know, like at the moment, like a lot of, the value additions are not there. Like we had to pay back to a lot of, dollars to the experts, which we can build up, managing and developing our mid-level management. And also, like efficiency to look at, that is also very important. Like we have improved our efficiency, no doubt, compared to our competitors in terms of the sourcing destination. Like if we talk about China, Vietnam, and other countries, but still the gap are there. And I'm sure like Munir Bhai and the factory like from Tasuka, Dipu Bhai, they're working always, to reduce that gap. Ultimately, all these areas all together, and the most important thing is the mindset of this entrepreneur is having, which is always helps us to build and make the sourcing destination stronger in Bangladesh. Thank you.
Thank you. So now I would like to move on to Mr. Arshad Jamal Dipu, former Vice President BGMA and Chairman Tushuka Group. So my first question to you is a bit broader, but we'd like to know from you as an industry leader, what are the main challenges of Bangladesh apparel industry in the coming years, in your opinion, and how and who to address them? It's a broader questions, but I know, but we would like to hear from you.
Thank you very much for inviting me here. First of all, I want to thank my favorite younger brother, Mustafiz, to continually, and very successfully, he is managing this Denim Expo. It is very important that, this is Denim Expo. Denim is, which Munir has said that, there is a target of denim portfolio of all R&G export. Denim is a complicated thing. It cannot grow like knitwear, which have grown in 1990s. There are positive moves there, particularly the denim mills have come over in the country. But answer to your question is where to address. Like, as a BGMA leader, I would say the challenge is sustainability of the business, not the environmental sustainability. That has become, we talk about sustainability, but we have to talk first that whether the business is sustainable here. And there, the question comes, like in Bangladesh, the industry is divided in different categories of factories. And I have seen in one of these talks, somebody high up in our leadership has mentioned that survival for the fittest, and which I disagree, because in this industry there are some winners, those who have done, like Munir has really got the platinum level of the sustainability. But I want to ask him that, how sustainable is his business? Like our friends. So that's for the better one. And if you see the regular factories or the smaller factories, my main challenge I see is how we can really bring up and make them sustainable in terms of business. Challenges, we know that energy is a big challenge, particularly denim is concerned. Of course, environment sustainability isn't. I just want to give one example. Like March 2023, there was a change in the environment law in Bangladesh. No, but there was no discussion about it. Like, as a denim manufacturer, which we see that we are investing on ETPs, we are investing on energy saving, we are investing on technology, particularly post-pandemic. A significant portion of investment is going on technology. And let us not forget, denim is a high-value item. So, the cost of fund or the trade financing cost has gone significant. Based on 2018, the LIBOR rate was 0.68 and now it's 5.64. It's 723% raise. And before pandemic, regular terms of trade was 60 days to 90 days term. Like, we used to ship the goods and within 90 days we used to get the thing. Now it's normal to get 120 to 180 days. So, the trade financing cost has become a very significant portion. And for the smaller ones, it's impossible to really carry this 700% increase in the trade financing cost. So, one thing the most important challenge is small and medium enterprises. My question is whether Bangladesh want to see that these small and medium enterprises are sustainable or not environment. I'm talking about business sustainability. We all have to work together. We have to share the knowledge. Particularly, one thing I see in manufacturers like us, we just don't have an intention to share the knowledge. We try to keep trade secret, like how you are really doing your recycling and doing it in a better way. The knowledge is not properly shared. So my dream is, actually I initiated a center of innovation there in BGMA, and there was a broadcasting center. Interestingly, it hasn't not yet started, but I want to see that, in future, everybody in this Denim Expo, we are getting some experience. In the evening, there will be a talk. Like in a merchandiser, she or he have faced a challenge. They want to share it with the others, and there will be a platform to share the knowledge, particularly the knowledge which we are getting I want to give another important point is in Bangladesh, almost 95, 98% of the garment manufacturers are Bangladeshi. We speak in same language, Bangla. We have a same mindset, including our workers. There is no two different language in this country, one elitist and one workers' language. We have the same language, same food. It's a very big strength for this country. We know RMG is one of the densely populated industry, like very much labor incentive industry. Within the limitation, whatever the limitation we have in Bangladesh, we are number 2 in the world. So how we are managing it? This is Bangladeshi knowledge. So everybody have to acknowledge that. Like Bangladesh knows how to operate and run RMG business. So we have to quantify, we have to document it finally that what is that Bangladesh knowledge. And I think if we can really disseminate the whatever the experience and the knowledge we have among the small and medium enterprises, that will bring the most sustainability in our business. Rest will be going on. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, especially bringing into discussion the aspect of business sustainability. And of course, in sustainability, as you know, there are 3 pillars, that is people, planet, and of course, profit. So profit or business sustainability is of course one of the important aspects of sustainability. Nevertheless, my second question to you is related to environmental sustainability, because many of the brands are coming or giving their lofty ambitious sustainability targets by the year 2030. One of the such target is achieving 30% renewable energy goals by many of the brands. But from our experience, you know that from the rooftop solar, about 20% renewable energy can be achieved by the garment industry. On the other hand, our thermal equipment, right, the boiler cannot be run by the renewable energy like the solar. So what could be the alternative ways for Bangladesh apparel industry to achieve the 30% renewable energy target by the year 2030? Because, by the way, this is also one of the target fixed by BJMEA.
Thank you. Again, I disagree that, these targets are, of course, somebody have to fix the target, and of course, the brands are fixing those targets, and we are running for that. But we are still not looking at first of all, we are not doing a reality check of the viability of these things. Number 2 is, in this country, if we had central ETP, if we had cluster-wise, the energy, like, a central boiler transported the steam all around, or, a collective effort. Enterprise level, I don't foresee that none of us, particularly a few big ones, obviously, for our business, we are complying with whatever, like, for example, our company, Tishuka, has achieved more than 33% of recycled water, because quality of the recycled water is also very important, because we can only do first wash, because we use live enzymes. So you cannot just use recycled water just like that, because the BOD level, a lot of time, even with this recycled waters, cannot be achieved on that. So my answer to that question is target will be there, but we have to do a reality check. We have to be very practical to achieve those things. For example, I can tell you that recently I was checking with the ZDHC level of the chemicals. Every buyer is asking, and I'm talking in front of my buyer, I'm not throwing a challenge to them, but honestly, if you guys were checking on that level, many of our chemical suppliers would have failed in the ZDHC level. So the certificates, I know Blue Sign is sitting here, so probably she have a lot of things to talk about, but it's not happening. Of course, the initiative have been, there, but I think, you have long way to go. And we have to, the buyers also have to be very, very responsible, that let us be sustainable in terms of our business. Bangladeshis are very hardworking. We are not reluctant. and we are not careless. We are very serious about this RMG business. So our government also have a big commitment, as our politicians have a very clear political will, which everybody knows in RMG, particularly our Honorable Prime Minister. I worked with her in several locations different, for a long time, and I've seen she have a very clear political will, particularly pro-poor, pro-worker, and pro-Bangladesh. Bangladesh means to keep the RMG industry, the steering of RMG should be in the Bangladeshis' hand. I wanted to tell you that this is very important. That will recover all the challenge. We Bangladeshi, we have to get hold strongly the driving seat, the steering of the RMG industry within the Bangladeshis. That's my goal. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I would like to now move to Mr. Takar Esano, Senior Director of Sales and Marketing, YKK Bangladesh PTA Limited. And my question to you is, for achieving USD 100 billion target by Bangladesh apparel industry means also the demand for the accessories will be double. So how does the accessories industry, do the accessories industry has also the target to double their capacity? Please share the case of YKK.
All right. Well, thank you very much for having me again. Really appreciate it. First of all, YKK Group has a belief that local production is the best. So zipper items look simple, but they come in variety of combinations of materials, come in many different colors, and they need to be cut to the specific length. And the length of the zipper, unfortunately, is oftentimes decided at the last minute. So that's how customers requested us for local production back in 2002, where we started local production in Bangladesh, and the initial production of the zipper piece count was 22 million pieces. Back in 2012, the quantity grew to 450 million pieces, which is 20 times more in 10 years. And today, we produce 1 billion pieces of zippers, which is twice as much compared to a decade ago. And this is all based on the customer demands, and that proves how quickly the Bangladesh apparel market grew. And as a result, it comes to us as no surprise when you say, well, it's going to even double up by 2030. So we're pretty much ready to do that. But one important thing to bear in mind is that when we increase the capacity, we need to visualize what kind of garment will be in demand so that we can expect what type of zippers we need to develop and locally produce. And the other point is, as our capacity of production grows, we will be handling many orders, obviously. So our organization and operation will become much more complex. So in order to live up to customers' satisfaction and needs, we're aggressively investing in digitalization so that we can maximize the efficiency in the operation, and we can keep our customers satisfied. But that's something that we need to bear in mind.
Okay, so my second question to you, could you please share some of the sustainability solutions
Yeah.
that YKK brought recently?
Yeah, so again, sustainability is a hot topic. That's the kind of topic we cannot avoid today. Actually, we're proud to let you know that YKK was the first zipper supplier who launched recycled material zipper into the market as early as 1990s. And that item was called Natulon. In order to better illustrate what I'm talking about, I have a piece of zipper here. We started to use a recycled polyester yarn for the tapes. Tapes are like the fabric that you see on both sides of the zipper. And today, over 90% of the zipper pieces that we produce in Bangladesh and supply to our customer are Natulon, meaning using the recycled yarn for the fabric. In addition to that, we are launching into the market with zipper teeth that are also made of recycled material in different types of zippers. One is called coil or nylon, and the other one is the metal zipper that you see that is often applied to the denim application. And that's actually just a baby tiny step for us. We actually have a product or the way of doing the electric plating in a whole different way that is very, very environmentally friendly called acroplating. And that basically reduces the use of power, electricity, and the water more than 60%. And that also reduces more than 90% of the greenhouse gas emission, and less than half of the chemical is used. So the bottom line is use of recycled material is actually anyone can do if you put effort to that. So that's bare minimum that we should all be doing. What differentiates us is based on our own technology, come up with the product that is going green. All right. So I think that's what is expected to go really, really sustainable in today's market.
Thank you. So now I would like to move on to Ms. Katrina Mayer, Regional CRM Manager, Indian Subcontinent Turkey, Blue Sign Technologies AZ. So my questions to you, one of the problems of the industry is the lack of unified certification system. Sometimes different buyers ask different certification requirements for the same compliance. So that not only causing more money for the manufacturers, but also hampering the efficiency in most of the cases. So how to address this problem?
Yeah, thank you for having us, Blue Sun here. It's a pleasure to be here. And it's a very good question because in the end we want the benefits for the manufacturers instead of the harm, spending more money for certifications, right? That you could very well use in production. And actually, I want to differentiate here because there are different certification schemes. So basically, the deeper you go into which products you're talking about, the more different are the regulations. So we heard about, for instance, electroplating for the zippers. But when you go to footwear, it's other topics. And when you go to synthetics, it's different than to be talking about denim. So it really depends on the product and the kind of certification scheme that is applicable there. We already heard that the production sites in general are basically the basis that the production site has, like for instance, is taking care of all the emissions, like water, air emissions, but also for waste management, for instance. But again, as soon as we talk about the products, it really depends where you want to go. And there are some unifying approaches, like for instance, from ZDHC to make it reasonable in rating the chemical products, right? We all know the ZDHC pyramid, the gateway. But for other certification standards, when we are not talking about chemicals, but for instance about the production sites or fabric certifications, it's really depending what products we are talking about. So for instance, with Puma, we worked on the polyester ranges, right? And now for denim, Blue Sign has a denim concept. So it really depends on the product. And again, I think it's super difficult to have like one unifying system in that sense.
Okay, thank you. My second question to you is, when we talk about sustainability, the chemical sustainability is one of the priorities. So how can chemical sustainability better ensured? So
I think for all the manufacturers, it's decisive to really know the chemical inventory list that they are having, like the complete chemical inventory list, not only about process chemicals, but also all the other chemicals that are being used on the production site. And then it's about knowing the impact of each chemical product. And yes, it's easy when we say, for instance, we know that these and that chemicals are on ZDHC level 3 or bluesign approved, or because then it's kind of taken care of, the risk and the exposure, especially when you would work with bluesign approved chemicals, the exposure and the risk is combined and taken care of. So it helps you to really not worry about your chemicals that you're using on the production side. But when we are not knowing about the chemical products, so when we maybe know the chemical company, but the chemical company might not have a proper product stewardship, so meaning all the idea of byproducts and impurities inside their own products, then it's really something that you might experience by failed product tests in the end. And that reduces your time to market, basically, and that's decisive again for the manufacturers. So basically, I think the better your chemical change or chemical management in general is as a manufacturer, the faster you are on the market and the less issues you have in product recalls or in testing. So I encourage every manufacturer to do really proper input stream management on the chemical part. And also, I mean, there are developments going on, like for instance, like the sustainability index on chemical products, where you can calculate the environmental key performance indicators on a chemical product, and that will also be become more and more important. But really, chemical management is super important in general.
Yeah, thank you, Katrina, for sharing some of the technical insights. So I will now move on to the last panel discussion to Mr. Mohammad Anis Agang Nugroho, Program Manager, Better Work Bangladesh. So my question to you that the fourth industrial revolution is something vivid in the industry. In the coming years, we also see its impact. Factories in Bangladesh are also already going for automation. So how to ensure just transition for workers in the fourth industrial revolution? So,
Yeah, thank you so much. So let me start with the fourth. A lot of discussion around the fourth industrial revolution is more about how many jobs were lost. But I think this new technology will also create new jobs as well, and aggregately more jobs will be created. So we should not worry about that, I think. But it's also very important to also mention that it's about human. It's not only about the technology itself, but it's also about human. So in creating that, what we think we need to do more is to do more upskilling and also reskilling. I think colleague from Puma mentioned about the middle management, for example. That's another things we can do to make sure that it's also workers can go up as well and getting more skill, and then they can continue in their jobs. But talking about the just transition as one of the ILO program, I think we also need to mention about that, because it's about human, then it's about also labor rights. Labor rights not only for the workers level, but it's also people in the middle, the middle management. We also need to think about that. We also need to discuss about that. And I think we don't have very prescriptive recipes, but I think it's all about basic rights. It's about how rights to organize, and it's also have to be about how social dialogue, because I think it's very important that when the owners install new technology and that will affect to the workers, then has to be communicate, has to be come to an agreement so that it can goes to a destination that they want to achieve together. Because I think it's also all of this will also require complex operations. I think that's what the colleague from YK mentioned. The more technology you coming in, there will be a more complex operation, and that means more skill is needed as well. So I think maybe the key word here is the social dialogue between the workers and the managers, and the owners so that you can achieve the goal without too much disruption. Because I think it's also very important as well that in Bangladesh, I think so far, you manage all of the crisis, right? Including, if we remember 10 years ago, there was a Rana Plaza, but look at the export now. It's double. It's even probably triple. So I think Bangladesh has that resilience as well. So I think we should not worry so much about the fourth industrial revolution.
Thank you. And one complimentary question. So, what are the activities the ILO Better Work is currently doing in Bangladesh for ensuring decent work? So, if you kindly share.
Yeah, sure. So ILO Better Work program is part of the ILO in Bangladesh. And I think what our biggest role is actually we convene the development partners. I think we have EU, Bernice here. We have also Australia who support us, but it's also working with the private sector like Puma and H&M who are our partners. So I don't think we should work in silo as mentioned. I think you mentioned, sir, yeah, that we should not. It should be about collaboration. And in the ILO, I think I mentioned earlier about after Rana Plaza in 10 years ago. I think this is all our collective effort as well. This is all our collaboration as well. So because of the Rana Plaza, then we established some support to Bangladesh RFG sectors. And if I can quote in one of my discussions with the BGME leadership, for example, even 20 years ago, when there was a child labor in Bangladesh, we worked together and then we overcome that. Child labor has gone now, and then Rana Plaza happened, we managed to work again, overcome again. And now I think we need to look further. What will happen? I think what is now coming, I think few of you also mentioned about the climate change, but it's also about new regulation, due diligence. I think that's two are very important. And so far, what we have learned is that good business and good working condition can come together. Better Work have just conduct a research on the impact, and we found out that, for example, when the factories enroll to the program, they receive better price, they receive more business, and they reduce the audit as well on the social compliance. Because for us, for example, with Better Work, we work with many brands. Of course, it's not like completed yet. It's not like all brands using our report, but it's already reduced. And then at the same time, the factory also showing that they have a better women protection. We also have a better workers' voice as well in the program. Currently, the ILO is developing a new program. It's called Advancing Decent Work in Bangladesh, and EU has been one of the development partners for this. And this is about what should Bangladesh do in the next few years. And I think this is also linked to when Mr. Murshid mentioned about the Article 26 complaint, for example, National Action Plan. I think that's what next for Bangladesh. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Now the floor is open for the audience. We are a bit behind the schedule. Nevertheless, we would like to take some quick questions from the audience. If you have questions, you can raise your hand, and our volunteers will take the microphone to you. So anybody of you want to questions? So I think there is no more questions from the audience, and this is also good for our schedule. So thank you so much, honorable speakers, for your valuable time and insights. And I would like to request you to kindly stand up for a group photo, and also request Mr. Mustafizuddin to kindly join the group photo.